Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. I'm Jochebed Isaacs and we are now in Lesson 6 from our Preparing for School unit. This lesson is all about behavior regulation in school. Typically, schools require an assessment of students before enrollment, and in some cases, some schools give provisional enrollment for a certain duration of time, almost like a probation period to assess if a student is ready for school and also if the school is able to support them accordingly. Now, in almost all these assessments, having expected behaviors would be a key area the school is looking at, and therefore behavior regulation is a key piece in a child's readiness to transition to school. In our previous series on community trips, we presented a color-coded table of challenging behaviors. And if a child is presenting behaviors that are code red to code black, this demonstrates that they are not yet ready for school and will need an urgent focus on managing those challenging behaviors before starting to prepare them for school again. And so what would the typically expected behaviors in a school setting include? Essentially, the ability to cooperate with the teachers and with other classmates, the ability to be flexible with transitions, with sharing, with changes, with waiting, with lining up, with accepting no, that's a long list. Be able to tolerate, be it crowds, sounds, and other potential sensorial challenges, and to be able to attend and focus on the teacher and complete given work. In general, to be able to self-regulate and present minimal self-stimulatory behaviors, or perhaps request for that, whether it's break time or stimming time. Also to have nice hands, and this essentially means to have zero aggressive behaviors to others and to things, including school property. Well, the good news is that if you are at this stage of looking for a school and preparing for a school, you've probably already worked on many of these areas in your child's therapy time. And of course, autism is a spectrum, and so for some of our kiddos, these areas may continue to be extremely challenging, and therefore a school setting or group learning environment may just be too challenging for them. On our Autism at Home platform, we have given a lot of emphasis to managing challenging behaviors. And so we do encourage you to go back and check out the previous series, including Unit 2 on managing challenging behaviors, Unit 4 on teaching cooperation, Unit 7 on building flexibility, Unit 15 building tolerance, and Unit 20 community trips. And so for this particular lesson, we are assuming that you have taught your child all those basic concepts. And if your child is struggling in any of the above mentioned areas, just remember to break that skill down again. Remember to teach that strategy at home, pair it with strong reinforcement, and then essentially make sure you're practicing enough so your child is able to really maintain that skill. Now, when it comes to school, we are going to come again from 90% of our energy to be focused on preventative strategies and only 10% on reactive strategies. A huge part of preventing a behavior is to set a child up for success. And this is usually through, firstly, identifying key triggers. We should be able to predict key areas of challenge for our children, especially if they've already been presenting all these challenging behaviors, and there is a thorough behavior plan. Secondly, evaluate each situation preventatively and see, is this a successful situation for your child, and how can you actually break it down, how you can simplify it and essentially prevent the challenging behavior. For example, in Malaysia, we have some subjects that are language subjects, such as Bahasa Malaysia and Mandarin, and some of our students are just not able to learn a second language at this point, and therefore they're not going to be successful in those classes. So rather than force them through it and likely have to then manage a meltdown or inattention or high self-stimulatory behavior, we may just request from the school if we could have a pull-out session and work on other areas during that time instead. Another situation may be more unstructured time, such as recess or assembly, which could be particularly difficult because of the crowd and the contained sound. So you may need to request if your child could wear headphones or be excused from assembly, essentially making adaptations that would help your child be successful. Then we need to provide them very clear communication, which we just covered in the previous lesson, lesson 4. If we can communicate to a child in a way that they understand the expectations, essentially giving them a heads up and also a reminder of how they can regulate their behavior, as well as communicate the motivation or reinforcement, you are setting your child up to be successful. Fourthly, don't forget reinforcement. Remember to acknowledge a child's effort to stay regulated, be it through verbal praise or maybe more discreetly in school, a thumbs up. But more importantly, this actually translates to something tangible and valuable to a child. Most of our school-going kids would work for screen time after school. For example, if a child is able to stay on green light, which may mean that the child is able to stay focused, listen to their teacher, complete their work, then they can maybe earn 5 to 10 minutes for every lesson that they stay on green light. These points accumulate and they can then have an extended screen time after school. Do note though that some of our children may actually need more frequent reinforcement, and that may mean they need a break or snack after each lesson in school. And for some kiddos, even shorter initially, like every 5 minutes, some reward. Fifthly, remember to provide a way out. This essentially refers to ensuring that a child has the opportunity to request for a break, or request a stim, or just to have some sort of coping strategy in place. These could be relaxation strategies that have been practiced at home but also approved by the school, such as having maybe a fidget spinner or fidget toy, or going to a break room, just having a sensory break. Anything that will help our kiddo cope and calm down. Now, these strategies can be applied to any of the following areas of behavior regulation in school, be it cooperation and flexibility, difficulty to attend and focus, self-stimulatory behaviors, inappropriate social behaviors, meltdowns, and tantrums. However, if a child presents aggression and dangerous behaviors, then again, going to school may not be feasible at this time. Do let us know if you would like us to do a specific series with lessons on each of these areas in the comments below. Also, very importantly, do discuss these strategies with the school, and especially the homeroom teacher, as they need to be strategies that are classroom appropriate and may even be standardized for the whole class so it doesn't isolate any student. Now, what happens if a behavior cannot be prevented and does occur, such as a meltdown which may involve crying or swiping off the worksheets, or perhaps even lashing out at someone? This is where that 10% energy on reactive strategies comes in. Firstly, we need to discuss with the school what is their school policy and how would they prefer us to manage the situation if it were to arise. Usually, the student is guided out of the class to a break or timeout area to calm down, and there would also be some natural consequences for the behavior. In some of our kiddos' cases, being suspended or removed from the class may actually be more reinforcing than consequential, resulting in some of our children even having more behaviors as a form of task avoidance. And so it would be more effective to remove their reward, essentially some loss of privilege that is congruent to their behavior. And so, it's now your turn. Firstly, identify how your child is doing in the following areas. And if you need to teach these expected behaviors in a one-to-one setting at home first, before transitioning to school. Perhaps it's in the area of cooperation with the teachers and with other classmates. Or maybe the many areas of flexibility, be it transition, sharing, changes, waiting. Maybe it's lining up, maybe it's accepting no. What about being able to tolerate, be it crowds or sounds or other sensory challenges? To be able to attend and focus on the teacher and complete their given work. What about the ability to self-regulate and present minimal self-stimulatory behaviors? Or are they able to request for that break and stimming time? Are they able to have nice hands, essentially zero aggressive behaviors to others and things, especially school property? Then you want to identify key triggers in school and evaluate, do you need to break it down in order to set your child up to be successful? Then, have you prepared the preventative strategies sufficiently? Be it communicating expectations, reinforcement, alternative coping strategies. Don't forget to work together with the school and come up with a consistent behavior plan that is classroom appropriate for both the preventative as well as reactive strategies. Lastly, don't forget to practice at home. The more fluent your child is with these areas in their own home, the easier it will be to generalize to school and the community. So it's a wrap on behavior regulation. In the next and final lesson, we will be talking all about finding a school.
Thank you very much for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China and Brunei. Get in touch with us for more information by scanning this QR code.
If you haven't already, do check out our online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the lesson videos, corresponding articles, and downloadables available for you for free. Stay updated through social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Do click on the subscribe and follow buttons to get more information. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye!